Hello students, welcome to Alfo's e-learning classes. Now, I am going to start the second session of our social studies of 9th standard, the first lesson, the earth. Yesterday I have explained to you about how the man, when he came into existence and what changes he has brought in his life, that is how man changed from the nomads to sedentary stage, how he worked for that, and in this development, how our activities affected the environment and in what way we were responsible for the global warming. And next topic we discussed about, that is, I have explained to you about the geocentric theory, heliocentric theory, about the Big Bang explosion and the differences between the stars and the planets. And next one is about our earth. What are the movements of the earth? Two movements will be there, that is, one is rotation, one is revolution. And what are the results of the two movements of the earth? Up to that part was completed, explained in session 1 of this lesson. Now, let me start session 2, the earth, the first lesson. In this, the next topic is about the evolution of the earth. The evolution of the earth is the next topic. Still, most of the scientists, they are debating about how the earth was formed. Many of the scientists were of the view that Earth started its formation, that is 4.5 billion years back, Earth started its formation. Still, there is a discussion going on about this formation, how it was in the initial stages, how it modified itself, how it took its present shape, in what way. Many of the scientists' view of that, they accept the theory, they accept the concepts that in the initial stages, Earth was in the form of just swirling dust and the clouds only. It was in the form of dust and clouds only. After some millions of years, it took shape into a molten form. Molten form is nothing but a hot liquid form. That is, the dust and the cloudy part transformed into molten material, that is hot liquid material. In some areas we can say in a magma stage, semi-solid, semi-liquid state also it was. So when Earth was in such molten form, several times it was bombarded by massive rocks and other material from the outer space. So whenever this molten Earth was bombarded by this massive rocks, the Earth's position started, that is, its area started expanding out. And it continued for several million years. Then afterwards, slowly and steadily, the hot molten material started a little bit cooling. How it was means, let me take one example. That is, take for example, if we make out a soup. Then when we boil out the soup, you might have very good experience about making a soup. When we make out a soup, the heavier substances will go down. That is, they will go down, and the lighter particles will form like a layer at the top. And still, let me take a very easy example. When we boil out the milk, at the top a cream of the milk will be formed out. And that cream of the milk, it forms like a layer. It forms like a layer on the milk. In the same style, our Earth, when it was in a molten form, slowly it started cooling, and the topmost lighter particles started forming a layer by covering complete molten material. So when this layer was formed, interior, that molten rock material also, slowly and steadily it started cooling itself. And because of the cooling process, when it took place in the interior parts of the Earth, the topmost layer which was formed with the lighter particles, it started contracting. That is, some wrinkle-like structures formed. We can observe this on the cream of the milk also. Very easily we will understand it. In some areas wrinkles form, in some areas ridges. That ridges only presently formed into the mountains, we can say that. And some areas, a deep low-lying areas were formed. Commonly we call them as the basins. That is, first, when the Earth was in hot molten-like material, because of the natural process, the heavier materials went down and formed the inner core that I will explain in my continuation. Then the lighter particles form like a layer. this layer formed around the molten rock material. So when the interior molten rock material started cooling, it contracted the outer surface that resulted in wrinkles, ridges, low deep basins on the surface. Then later, this ridges only got developed into the present mountain ranges, and that basins which were formed because of the contraction, because of that basins, what happened later when the atmosphere was formed out and everything was made out, the basins got filled with the rain water. That only transformed into the present oceans. In this way, the formation of the earth took place. These are the views which many of the scientists supports out. Then after the formation of the earth, then took again several years it took to form atmosphere. Atmosphere, all of you know, very easy definition to define it. That is the gaseous layer which is present around the earth called as atmosphere. It consists of number of gases like oxygen, nitrogen, whatever, carbon dioxide, so and so, so and so. In the initial stages, oxygen was not present. First, actually, it started with what we can say that carbon dioxide was in huge quantity. Then later nitrogen, like that gases evolved. Later oxygen, which we called as breath of our life, it came into existence. Then slowly and steadily, when this gaseous layer atmosphere was formed out, then very good temperature increased. Before it was like a ball of ice. Then when the temperature started increasing on the earth, then the life also started. Most of the scientists, they will accept the concept that the life first started in the oceanic waters in the form of single cellular organism. Later it transformed into two cellular organism and so on, plants, animals, and we the human beings came into existence. That this part of the lesson is explaining to us about how the earth was formed. From the dust, it transformed to molten rock material. Then afterwards, it transformed into the present earth. Then the atmosphere was formed out. Then after the atmosphere, very good temperatures were recorded on the earth. The temperature supported the life on the earth. And the first life started in the oceans in the form of single cellular organism. Then afterwards, plants, animals, and the human beings, etc., came into existence. In this way, earth was formed and life came into existence. This is a topic. And next continuation, if you look out, the next topic is about internal structure of the earth. Internal structure of the earth. Actually, if you look out, as we go up into high altitudes of the atmosphere, as we go up from the surface of the earth on which we are living, as we go up, the temperature goes on decreasing. For every 1000 meters, the temperature decreases at a rate of 6 degrees Celsius. That is, take for example the room where I am standing and explaining, if the room temperature is 40 degrees Celsius. If I move to 1,000 meters into high altitudes, there the temperature will be 40 minus 6 degrees Celsius. So, at the abode of 1000 meters, the temperature will be recorded as 34 degrees Celsius. Then after 1000 meters, 34 minus 6, 28 degrees Celsius. That means, as we go up into higher altitudes, the temperature decreases at a rate of 6 degrees Celsius for every 1000 meters. This reduction of temperature is called as normal lapse rate. We call it as normal lapse rate. But when we go deep into Earth's interior, the temperature goes on increasing. As we go up, it is decreasing. But when we go deep into Earth's interior, the temperature increases. How it increases and at what rate it increases, let me explain to you. Actually, scientists, they worked very hard in order to analyze the data of the Earth's internal structure. And it was very hard for them, and it took many years for the geologist or geophysicist, we can say that, to find out, to analyze the data, how the Earth's interior will be, how the layers are, what chemical substances are present, and what is the temperature at the interior level, how the temperature is changing as we move into deep interiors, like that. In order to analyze this data, scientists took several years, even after the formation of the earth, after the formation of atmosphere, and after the life began also, several years they took. What are the reasons? This is one of the important question of the topic. Why it took several years for the scientists to say about the earth's interior means these are the reasons. The first reason is actually the distance, radius. Here I should define radius. Radius means the distance from the topmost layer of the earth to its interior, center part. Take for example, now my hand, it is on which we are living out. Here this is Sheila, here she is standing. From here to center point of the earth, the distance from the top to center point of the earth is called as radius. Radius is nothing but the distance from top to center point of the earth is called as radius. Now, this radius distance is 6,440 kilometers. The radius, that is the distance is 6,440 kilometers. So, as we go into interior layers, for every 32 meters, temperature goes on increasing, plus. As we go up, it will be minus. But as we go into Earth's interior, just for every 32 meters only, temperature increases at a rate of 1 degree Celsius. Like that, it goes on increasing 1 degree for every 32 meters it increases. So, in such way, if we calculate at this rate, at the center point of our earth, the temperature is estimated by the scientists as 6,000 degrees Celsius. 6,000 degrees Celsius is the temperature recorded. 6,000 means we can't imagine that. Because in the month of the May, which is the hottest month in our country, now at present in Telangana, 48 to 50 degrees Celsius is getting recorded. With this only we are facing a lot of problems. Then if we imagine 6,000 degrees Celsius means maximum rocks will be in the molten form. That is in magma, semi-solid, semi-liquid, radioactive elements like uranium, thorium, radium like that, radioactive minerals only can sustain at that place. In such a manner the temperature will be. Now the question is, how can we travel to that area where the temperature is 6,000 degrees Celsius? It's not possible for us. Now, how we got light about the Earth's interior means, scientists started finding out, analyzing the data of the Earth's internal structure in two ways. One is the direct way and one is indirect means. In direct means and indirect means, scientists, they started analyzing the data of the interior part of the earth, we can say. How means? Take for example, we dig out the mines, either it may be coal mines or gold mines. Common example these are. Up to now we dig out up to 3 kilometers only. That means 3 kilometers deep the coal mines will be dug out. The people will go deep into that mine, they will extract out that particular mineral, either coal or gold or mica, manganese, whatever it may be. By seeing that, the scientists will read out actually how the temperature at that particular 3 kilometers range, how the layer, how the structure, formation of the earth interior layers are, what is the temperature, what substances are present there. Like that they will read out. That is up to 3 kilometers. This is directly. Man is moving up to 3 kilometers. Because he is moving in the mine which was dug out. Direct evidence. Man can travel up to the 3 kilometers and man can observe directly that what are the substances present there. How is the formation of the internal structure of the earth. What is the temperature getting recorded. Like that everything in a direct means man will get the knowledge. After this, everything goes on in an indirect manner. That means through indirect way only, scientists started collecting the data. What are that indirect evidences means? Petrol. We will drill out the petrol pipes up to 6.5 kilometers into deep Earth's interior. 6.5 kilometers deep interior, we will drill out the petrol pipes and we will get the petrol. And we all know that the petrol will come in the crude form. Some rock, some dust, something all will be mixed out and it will come out. Later on it will be purified, that is a different matter. But when it comes out, it is a combo pack of many items then. By seeing that, the scientists will conduct experiments on all that which brought out with petrol. Then they have come to one conclusion that at 6.5 kilometers interior, how is the earth, how the layer formation is, what chemical substances are present, what is the temperature at that interior, right? These two completed. That is, first one is direct evidence, man will go deep interior, that is one. Second, through indirect ways, up to 6.5 kilometers, we will drill out the earth's interior, we will try to find. Next one scientist by name Andrea Mohorovic. I have read in one of the newspaper, according to the newspaper article I am explaining to you, Andrea Mohorovic, he was this geophysicist. This man, he tried to study Earth's internal structure through seismic waves. Seismology. The study of earthquakes is called as seismology, and the people who study about this earthquakes called as seismologist. He was very much interested in that topic. Then he read out seismic waves, how the seismic waves means earthquake waves. The waves which causes earthquakes are called as seismic waves. The waves which cause earthquakes are called as seismic waves. So, this person, Andrea Mohorovic, he investigated on that particular seismic waves which travel in the deep interior layers of the earth. They will be of several times, like primary waves, secondary waves, long waves. That is separate topic. I don't want to go deep into that. Through that seismic waves, how the earthquakes, he prepared a graph. Through that graph, he tried to understand that. With his members about how the interior structure of the earth is built out actually. Then after him, several investigations were made out by several scientists, and overall the internal structure of the earth was given out. Here, what is an important question here is, why it has become so tough or so many years to say about the earth's interior means, these are the reasons you have to write. First, you have to write the point that the distance from the top to center of the earth is 6,440 kilometers. As we go into earth's interior, for every 32 meters, the temperature increases at a rate of 1 degree Celsius. So, as per this, when we go to that central part, it is estimated that the temperature will be 6,000 degrees Celsius, very high temperatures. Because of that, man was unable to travel to that area. So, it has become some delay in order to analyze the data of the earth's interior. Later on, after many investigations, scientists have found out direct and indirect evidences to know about the earth's interior. Direct evidence is nothing but when we dug out a mine, man directly used to travel up to 3 kilometers. Then with that we got the direct evidences about how is the structure, layer formation, chemical combination, temperature. That is direct. You have to write that as one point. Next, indirect evidences means you have to write here 2 points. One is the petrol pipes were sent up to 6.5 kilometers. Along with the petrol, whatever the material was brought out, experiments were conducted on that, and scientists came to a conclusion about the formation, chemical combination and temperature at that area. And second point in indirect, what you have to write is that through seismic waves, that is the waves which causes earthquake called as seismic waves. So scientists investigated on that, they read out about the seismic waves. According to that, they prepared out the graph and they explained about the internal structure of the earth. Now I am going to explain about the internal structure of the earth. The earth is made up of 3 layers. The earth is made up of 3 layers: crust, mantle, core. Crust, mantle and core. Let me say about these 3 layers in detail for you. First, crust. The topmost layer of the earth's surface is called as a crust, on which we the people are living. But if you write in a systematic manner, it will be good for you. Like that, when earth was boiling in a molten form, just now in my earlier topic I have explained to you, when earth was boiling in molten form, all the lighter particles, they have came up and they formed a layer-like structure, cooled and formed like a layer-like structure. That structure which was formed with the lighter particles called as crust. This is the topmost layer of the earth. And its depth, how much to what extent it expands means up to 100 kilometers. The depth of this crust is 100 kilometers. And this is divided into upper layer and lower layer. Upper and lower layer. It is divided into upper and lower layers. So, this upper layer means it is present on the continents on which we are living out. Lower layer means the subsurface of the oceanic floor. Oceanic floor will be there, no subsurface. That is the lower layer of the crust. Upper layer of the crust means the continents, the landmass on which we the people are living. That is the upper layer of the crust. Whereas the oceanic floor is called as a lower layer of the crust. So total depth from top to bottom is 100 kilometers. And in this upper layer, the maximum chemical substances which are present in the upper layer, that is silicon and aluminium. 2. Commonly, in order to remember easily, Cl we can call silicon and aluminium. These are the chemical substances present in the upper layer of the crust. Then when we go to the lower layer, silicon and magnesium. These are the chemical substances present. That is, let me explain to you. Crust means the topmost layer of the earth on which we people are living is called as crust. How it was formed means when the earth was boiling in the molten form, the lighter particles, they rose to top, cooled and form a layer, and that layer is called as crust. Second point, the depth of this crust is 100 kilometers. Next, it was divided into upper layer and lower layer. Okay. Then upper layer means the continents, that is the landmass on which we are living. It consists of the chemical substances silicon and aluminium. Commonly we will call it as Cl. And sixth point is the lower layer means it is nothing but ocean surface, last oceanic floor. That part is called as the lower layer of the crust. It consists of silicon and magnesium. It's commonly called as SEMA. These are the chemical substances present in the first layer of the earth called as crust. So these 6 points you have to cover in this crust. Why? Because it is covered in the long answers 4 marks. You have to write everything in detail. First you have to start from earth is made up of 3 layers. They are crust, mantle, core. Then keep the side heading of the crust. Then one by one you have to point and you have to write all the points. Then come to the next layer. The next layer after the crust is called as mantle. The layer that is present between the crust and core. It is the mantle. As it is located in the middle. This mantle also called as mesosphere. Mesosphere means the layer which is present in the middle is called as mesosphere. It is also called as. It extends up to a depth, that is from 100 kilometers to 2900 kilometers. This is the depth of the mantle. Silicates are present here. And how the mantle was formed? That is, when earth was boiling in molten form, the light heavier particles are there, no? They settled in the middle and they formed this middle layer. So, how to write points in mantle? Then you have to write like this. Mantle is the second-most layer of the earth's interior. It is present between crust and core. As it is located in the middle of the 2 layers, it is also called as mesosphere. It extends from 100 kilometers to 2900 kilometers. That is the depth. And silicates are present here. How it formed means when the earth, again that point you have to write. When the earth was boiling in the molten form, light heavier particles, they came down, settled in the middle, and this mantle was formed. Like this 6 points you have to cover in mantle also. Next go to the third and innermost layer of the earth, that is called as core. Core. How it formed? First point, if you have to take that, the innermost layer of the earth is, earth's interior is core. First point completed. When the earth was boiling in the molten form, the heavier substances, I said example of soup in my previous explanation, the heavier particles of that soup, they went down and formed a layer, I said, no. So when the earth was in molten form, when it was boiling out, the heavier substances like iron, they went down and they were located at that depth and formed into core. This is the last and internal layer of the earth's surface. Next, it extends up to a depth of 2900 kilometers to 6376 kilometers. 2900 to 6376 kilometers. And this core, again it is divided into two parts. This is core, this is core. It is divided into two parts, like this it is divided. This part is called as outer core. This is called as outer core, and this inner one is called as inner core. Outer core and inner core. When we take this outer core, it extends from 2900 kilometers to 5100 kilometers. This outer core extends from 2900 to 5100 kilometers. And maximum what will present here? Nickel, iron, like that materials are present here. Whereas when we go to this inner core, here it extends from 5100 kilometers to 6376 kilometers. Here the hard substances, gold is present here. When we compare this outer core and inner core, if you see, here the temperature will be to a maximum extent up to 6000 degrees Celsius it will be. At this outer core, everything will be in the liquid form only because of high temperatures. Even the rocks also will be in the molten form. So it is in liquid form. But whereas, quite interestingly, if you go to the core, still the temperature is more. In this inner core, the temperature will be still high. But quite interestingly, here this will be in solid form. The reason for this, what the scientists will say, is because of the high pressure, it will be in the solid form, crystalline solid form it will be. And gold is present in that layer. This is about the internal structure of the earth, and very, very important topic here. Here 2 4 marks questions will be asked on this. First question is about why we were unable to analyze the data of the earth's interior for these many years. And the next one is write about the earth's interior. All the 6 points you have to write about each. Crust is the topmost layer of the earth's surface. It extends up to a depth of 100 kilometers. When the earth was in molten form, it was boiling out, the lighter particles form a layer and crust was formed. It is divided into upper crust, upper layer and lower layer. Upper layer means continents on which we are living. Lower layer means the subsurface of the oceanic floor. In this upper layer, silicon and aluminium substances are present. In the lower layer, silicon and magnesium are present. Then, second is mantle. The next layer of the earth's surface is mantle. As it is located between the 2 layers, it is called as a mesosphere also. Mesosphere means layer which is present between the 2 layers. It extends from 100 kilometers to 2900 kilometers, and silicates are present here. When the earth was in boiling molten form, the lighter, heavier substances settled in the middle and formed this mesosphere. Then after mesosphere, the interior layer of the earth is called as core. It extends from 2900 kilometers to 6376 kilometers. When the earth was in molten form boiling out, at that time, the heavier substances, they settled down deep and formed this core. It is divided into again 2 parts, outer core, inner core. outer core's depth is 2900 kilometers to 5100 kilometers. Nickel like that, iron, ferrous like that materials are present here. Then this inner core extends from 5100 kilometers to 6376 kilometers. Gold is present here in the Earth's interior. These are the two topics of this lesson. Next, let us continue about one more topic of the lesson, that is movements of the earth crust. A very small topic this is. Right. You might have observed the world map several times. Then in that you will find some continents, some countries, water areas. From your substandard classes you might have observed that. If our board is like the world map, if we start from this left hand direction, North America, South America, Europe, Africa, Asia, Australia, Antarctica, like that continents you might have observed. Then if you take out oceanic bodies, from the left again let us start. Pacific Ocean, here Atlantic Ocean, then Antarctic, Indian Ocean, Arctic at the top, like that the oceans will come. That is 7 continents we will find like this and 5 oceans we will find. This was the map we were observing from our first onwards we were seeing. That is from several years, not only your generation, our generation and our previous, our teachers, so and so. Since several hundreds of years we are observing this map. But here a question arises that, do the earth is like this only since its formation, or it is whether it changed or it formed like this only? This question arises. Then the answer for this answer is given by a person by name Alfred Wegener. Alfred Wegener. In 1912, this German geophysicist, he has propounded a theory called as Continental Drift, in order to answer to us how the earth formed, whether when it's formed at the time of formation, the same 7 continents and 5 oceans are there, or it was something different. In order to answer to this doubt, this great personality, Alfred Wegener, a German geophysicist, he propounded a theory in 1912, and that theory is called as Continental Drift. And see, I will show you how he explained to us. If you look out our textbook, see 4 maps are given to us. Is it clear? In the first map, if you look out, in the first map, he tried to explain to us, according to this map, when earth was formed, only 2 masses were there. Solid mass, liquid mass. This solid mass is completely a land part. Around this land part, there present water. That is, entire land mass was covered with the water. And this was only one land mass. There was no divisions in this particular land mass. So this German geophysicist, Mr. Alfred, he called this as a supercontinent. He called it a supercontinent. And when our earth was like this, means 220 million years ago, our earth was like this. Easily to remember, Mesozoic era. In the Mesozoic era, our earth was like this. That is, only one land part. Around the land part, water was present out. And this Alfred called this super landmass as supercontinent. He named also it Pangea. Pangea, it is a Greek word, and the meaning of the word is whole world, whole landmass, he want to call it as. Then afterwards, some vibrations, some internal disturbances took place in the interior part of the earth, and then the second map shows that how the changes occurred in the crust part. If you look out, here one pink color line is given us. This Alfred, he explained to us, then after, that is 200 million years ago, this earth crust, it was divided into 2 parts. If it is like this, first it was just whole landmass was one part only. It was like this. He called this part as a supercontinent and Pangea. Later what happened? It got divided like this into two parts. This northmost part he called as Laurasia or Angara land, the northern part of the crust. This Alfred Wegener he called as Laurasia or Angara land, and the southmost part he called as Gondwana land. Gondwana land he called as. Means Gondwana land. What are present in this? Laurasia or Angara land. South is called as a Gondwana land. What continents are present in this north part? Laurasia means North America will come. All of you know, to the north part only North America will be. North America, Greenland, Eurasia means Russia, northern parts that is above India, to the north side of India some countries are located, no? They will come. And what are present in this Gondwana means South America, Africa, our India, here Indonesian islands, Australia, New Zealand. These will come in the south. So what this person propounded, what he said that what divided this landmass into two parts means one sea, and he named that sea as Tethys Sea. He called it as Tethys Sea. This was very shallow sea part. It divided the supercontinent into two parts, and then the division started. Then later what happened? Again he explained this theory to us very clearly. After this division also, still many divisions took place. If you look at this third map, this is 135 million years if you look out back. Like this, our earth was. Because this landmass was located on the tectonic plates. Because of the internal vibrations, the plates will move, collide and move away from each other. Then slowly and steadily, if you look at this third map, you can observe here. North America separated, South America separated, Africa separated, Antarctica separated. But Europe, Asia, Australia not separated. So that means some continents, some plates separated and formed some continents. Then afterwards, still because of the interior disturbances, what happened? Now this present map came into existence. Now all the 7 continents came into existence because of the internal vibrations. Take for example, still it is, earth is very active, still the movements are going on. Let me explain one about India. Actually our India, it was a part and parcel of this Gondwana land. Our India was located very near to Australian plate. If you observe the world map very clearly, in the coastal area of Andhra Pradesh, between Bangladesh, these areas and coastal, Australia will fix very easily. That is, once upon a time, our India was a part of Gondwana land. It separated from the Australian plate. It separated from Australian plate, and our India moved. It crossed this equator area. It moved towards the north, and it started hitting this Tethys Sea and that Eurasian plate. Because of this collision only, what happened? The water of this Tethys Sea flown away, and the sediments which are presented in the Tethys Sea, they buckled up and formed into present day Himalayas. Now also our Indian plate is hitting the Eurasian plate, that is Russian plate. By this we can say still earth is very active, still it is moving, colliding, moving away from each other, still many changes are taking place on the earth crust. So what points you have to remember means? Alfred Wegener, a German geophysicist, propounded continental drift theory in 1912. With this, he described about the present formation of the continents and oceans. First, the landmass was one and it was surrounded by water. He called this supercontinent as Pangaea. Later, again, several years changes took place, and now present 7 continents and 5 oceans were formed. Scientists expressed the opinion that still the movements are taking place, still the earth is very active and it is colliding with, moving away from each other. Because of the earthquakes, some places are going down, that is subduing, some places are uprooting. Like this, several changes are taking place. With this, we can come to a conclusion that our earth is still active and making up new things. This is for the session 2. We will continue the lesson in session 3. Thank you.